The human ear is an organ that serves two special sensory functions: the detection of sound and the detection of body position, which enables us to maintain balance. The ear consists of three separate portions: the external or outer, middle, and inner parts. The external and middle ear structures are less complex and are involved only in hearing, and the internal or inner ear functions in both hearing and equilibrium. But do you know, what is the tectorial membrane? Well, tectorial membrane is one of two acellular membranes in the cochlea of the inner ear, lying above the spiral limbus and organ of Corti. I know this is a direct answer and difficult to understand. So before understanding what is tectorial membrane, where is it present, and its role in hearing, you need to understand from the beginning. So let's start. We will not move into detail of external and middle ear, but we will focus on inner ear, which contains tectorial membrane. The outer external ear is made up of the three structures: auricle or pinna, auditory canal, and eardrum or tympanic membrane. Middle ear consists of auditory ossicles, which includes the malleus, incus, and stapes. Other than auditory ossicles, middle ear consists of oval window, round window, and Eustachian tube. Inner ear consists of vestibule, cochlea, and semicircular canal. The process of hearing begins when sound waves enter the auditory canal, just as ripples travel across the surface of a pond. Sound waves travel by the successive vibrations of air molecules. Sound waves do not usually carry much energy, but when a large number of waves strike the tympanic membrane, it moves back and forth ever so slightly. The malleus then vibrates from the pressure wave from the inner surface of the tympanic membrane, in turn vibrating the incus, and then the stapes. The slight pressure wave is multiplied about 20 times as it moves from bone to bone. Finally, the stapes strikes the membrane of the oval window, causing it to vibrate. In this way, the pressure wave is passed to the perilymph, within the cochlea of the inner ear. Now let's discuss inner ear in detail process. As we have discussed that inner ear is fluid-filled, consists of a bony labyrinth, which are semicircular canals, cochlea, and vestibule. The fluid outside the ducts is perilymph. The fluid inside the ducts is endolymph. Now, let's understand the location of these fluids. This is the structure of the cochlea after cross-sectioning. There are three tubular canals: Scala vestibule, Scala tympani, and Scala media. Scala vestibule and Scala tympani contain perilymph, which has high sodium, but the Scala media contains endolymph, which has high potassium. The Scala media is bordered by the basilar membrane, which is the site of the organ of Corti. Now let's discuss location and structure of the organ of Corti. The organ of Corti is located on the basilar membrane. It contains the receptor cells, called as hair cells for auditory stimuli. Inner hair cells are arranged single rows and are few in number. Outer hair cells are arranged in parallel rows and are greater in number than the inner hair cells. Stereocilia protrude from the hair cells and are embedded in the tectorial membrane. The spiral ganglion contains the cell bodies of the auditory nerve, which is cranial nerve 8, called as cochlear nerve, which synapse on the hair cells. The cell bodies of hair cells contact the basilar membrane. The cilia of hair cells are embedded in the tectorial membrane. Sound waves cause vibration of the organ of Corti, because the basilar membrane is more elastic than the tectorial membrane. Vibration of the basilar membrane causes the hair cells to bend by shearing force as they push against the tectorial membrane. Bending of the cilia causes changes in potassium conductance of the hair cell membrane. Bending in one direction causes depolarization. Bending in the other direction causes hyperpolarization. Are you still confused about tectorial membrane? So, let's differentiate between basilar membrane and tectorial membrane. Well, basilar membrane is an acellular membrane on which the hair cells lie embedded. Or, in other words, hair cells lie embedded within the basilar membrane. But tectorial is a membrane, that is, fibrous sheet overlying the apical surface of the cochlear hair cells. Or, in other words, tectorial membrane lies over the hair cell. When the stapes strikes the membrane of the oval window, pressure waves in the perilymph travel from the vestibular duct to the tympanic duct across the basilar membrane. The basilar membrane moves up and down, and the stereocilia of the hair cells, embedded in the tectorial membrane, bend. Hair cells communicate with neurons of the cochlear nerve, which is part of cranial nerve 8, called the vestibulocochlear or auditory nerve. Bending the stereocilia of a hair cell causes changes in the amount of signaling from the hair cell to the neuron, and this affects the frequency of action potentials that are generated in the neuron. Action potential signals are transmitted into the brainstem, where they are relayed through the thalamus to the auditory cortex in the temporal lobe. There, the signals are interpreted as sound, auditory memories of the sounds we've heard in the past, such as the earworms are also housed in the temporal lobe. Let's have some mnemonics to have an easy remembrance. The pinna is the part of your ear that everybody can see. Use the pin part of the word as your mnemonic, and imagine pins sticking into this part of your ear. A little blood makes the image that much more memorable. Moving to next mnemonic. Once sound waves enter your ear, they travel down your auditory canal. The image of empty cans connected together should help here. Moving to next mnemonic. This is an easy one to remember because of drum, but the eardrum is also referred to as the tympanic membrane. So use the idea that a drum can create loud noises, which can cause some people to panic and or hit the panic button. Moving to next mnemonic. Luckily, these are already pretty concrete images. It's important to remember that. After sound hits the eardrum, the order is hammer, then anvil, then stirrup, or HAS, or MIS, if you call these three bones, malleus, incus, and stapes. Moving to next mnemonic. Cochlea is the snail-shaped part of the ear. The cock, part of this word, rhymes with Coke. So imagine Coca-Cola being poured into your ear. All that fluid collects inside your cochlea. Moving to next mnemonic. So running through the middle of your cochlea is basilar membrane with hairs on it. Use the bas part of basilar and imagine bass swimming up inside the middle of your cochlea, swimming through all that soda, of course. Moving to our last mnemonic. There are tiny cilia, or hair, all along the basilar membrane. These hair move back and forth with the vibration of the fluid in the cochlea. To remember these hair, imagine silly hair on top of the bass in your cochlea. This was all. Stay tuned to sqadia.com for more precise and knowledge-stuffed videos.
Explore our extensive library of over 1,800 video lectures to learn about a wide range of topics. Only on sqadia.com.